Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a PlatformYou user, and I want to show you how you can achieve something on the PlatformYou site. I've logged in and created an account up here. I'm all ready to go, so that's one of the things you want to do first. But right now, I want to become an airline pilot. So I try to find that goal. I can search for that, and I see a series of goals: airline pilots, commercial pilots, and so on. I say, okay, great. I want to do that, so I can click on that goal, and then I'm going to see some plans for it. In the early days of the site, you're not going to see a lot of other plans there. Soon, hopefully, somebody will come along and create a plan about becoming an airline pilot and post it for sale and give you a nice, big, huge shortcut to achieve your goal. But at this point, as you see, no plans found for this goal, and I want to click save and start that goal myself. So it saves that goal to my U page, and you can see here I've got my profile, and I can go in there and adjust it in the account info if I want. But right now the key thing I want to do is start creating a plan for it. So I click on the little arrow to start achieving it, and it takes me to the achieve page. And you see here I have my goal, airline pilots, and I have a plan here at the top, and I have a section here about current steps and so on, and at the bottom I have all my steps. And you see a bunch of things like get started, write text here. It's a basic template for you to start editing and move forward, and we'll get into that as we go through it. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of give myself a name for that plan. So I'm going to say Matt becomes a pilot is my name, and this is the price. I'm not going to sell it yet, so I'm not going to do anything out here. And I want to say over the next 6 months I become an airline pilot, and I am ready to go and do that. And maybe I want to say I want to focus on being a helicopter pilot. So I save that, and I've got a nice little new title of Matt becomes a pilot and a little description about that, and I have a start date of today. Now I can start doing the steps. So we're going to have a few nice little basic startup steps for you. So the first one's always going to be get started, and I can say get started and maybe look into some basic things that help me understand what is needed to be a pilot. And I want to put a start date here, so I want to do that by 6/30/2012, and that's probably going to take me about 60 minutes. So here I'm going to put a current step name, due date that I want it to be, a duration, which is in minutes, and then a basic step, the description of that, an overview, and this can be read along, and kind of whatever information I want to do, and I'll save that. And then I can go and say, okay, well, what do I want to do? Maybe I want to watch a video of that, so I want to maybe add a resource. So I can go to the internet and I can find different types of resources. So here I have a video about helicopter training. So the first thing I want to do is watch this video. So I can copy that resource, I can add that resource here and save it there, and it'll be in my list, and so on. And then I can write my own notes. So if I ever choose to sell this plan, these kinds of things, the current step, the overview, and the resources will all be there. But these are my own personal notes. So this sometimes seems scary, so I might want to look into do a few flights first in a chopper, and I can save that. So that's saved. It'll kind of, every time you have that in the notes, you just click save and we'll do that for you. I can go to the next step in two different ways. If you want to, you can kind of click on this button at the bottom and you'll see different types of pieces. So We have, again, some kind of common pieces for you. Understand the goal, gather tools and information, post your social networks. You can go in there and do those kind of different steps and update them. So for an example, I can go in there and I can say understand the goal. And again, I can edit that step. And I say by maybe by 7 to, this might take me 120 minutes, I can say, sorry, I want to do understand the goal. I'm going to save that, update that. I need to go to there, I click on that, and I would choose to edit that specific step. So I would say understand the goal, and I can write text by that, and I can say 7-2-2012, and this would be 120 minutes. And I can say take a few flights on a chopper. And again, if I have a resource that I want to do, so here's a local resource that tells me some helicopter tours, and I can copy that link, save that resource. Whoops. I'm going to save this first, add a resource, paste that in, and then click OK. And I have that saved. And I can go there. I can add several resources. So if there was somewhere specific on here, so if I wanted to see flight training here, and there was a private helicopter pilot course or something like that that I wanted to look into, I can take that specific resource, and again, I can copy into that same section and click OK. And then I can get started. And I can basically go through and do different steps on here, and just kind of think about what I want to do. Now, after I got through the get started, I might take my first step here. And so I've chosen my course, and I'm kind of ready to go, and I want to edit this step. And under my first step here, I'm going to say take my first lesson. And I want to do this by 7/15/2012, and I say this is going to take 120 minutes, and I can say do this with epic helicopters. And again, I can save that, and I might have to say, look into a different thing and say, okay, my first one's going to be this piece here around maybe a flight review course, and so I want to take this piece, and that's going to be my first course that I'm going to take. So really, you're just kind of thinking about what I want to do, and so on. And so again, I can add that resource to here and save it, and so on. Now, as you go through it, I take my first lesson. I can be very detailed here, so I might have a sub-step, then I might edit under write your first sub-step, and I say listen to the instructor about wind patterns, and I might have this be the same due date as before, 7/15/2012. Maybe that should take 60 minutes, and I can say listen to the instructor talk about how wind affects helicopters, and I can save that. And then I say, okay, you know what, after I do that, I want to also listen to the instructor about overall safety, so I can add a step. When you add a step or a sub-step, it's going to refresh the page a little bit, and you'll see underneath the steps, you'll see a new step. and then you can go and edit that. So that's something we want the page to refresh automatically, but right now it'll kind of hide. You'll have to get back to it. But I can do that, and I can say find out about helicopter safety. And I want to do that on that same day, 7/15/2012. And that probably will take me 60 minutes. And I can say review with my instructor. I can add resources, a bunch more text, all kinds of things. I can save that, and so on. Now, as you see, I've added a substep there, and I might think to myself, well, that's really not a substep of that. I really want it to be an equal step. I can move my steps around different ways. So I can either make it a equal step to that, or I can choose the arrows and I can actually make that go first and decide to do that first instead, and that'll automatically do that. And that's how I'm just going to continue to do it step by step, adding different pieces. I can add a step a couple different ways. I can do a sub-step over here on the right, which adds it in that section, or I can add several steps at the bottom, and as I go through that, I'll get some chances to do that different kinds of pieces there. So that's the basic overview for it. One of the good ways to look at the sites is actually to adopt one of our sample plans. So if I go to the page, I can actually choose a sample plan. For example, I can choose to how to break and train a horse on a trail ride, and I can look at that, or I can actually save that plan. And if I click on save that plan, it'll take me to that. It'll save it to my U page, and again I can go to that and I can look at the different steps of that, and you'll have a nice kind of overview at the top. I can click through that and I can have different steps that I can walk through, and you really get to know a plan. So good plans are going to be very specific, have lots of information. You'll see that it's going to automatically set the date that you adopted at, and put all the dates in the future for you, so you can kind of drive that plan. And then as you achieve the different steps, you can mark complete, you can edit, or if you didn't want to do a step, so you didn't want to do, you weren't really worried about lunge line work for those, and you wanted to delete that step, you could do that as well. So a good way to get to know the site as well is to adopt one of our sample plans when you build a plan, and also very soon in the site there will be a plan on how to build a PlatformYou plan. I hope you enjoy this. This is just a short video, and if you have more questions, please email us at pyteam@platformyou.com. Again, pyteam@platformyou.com. Thanks so much, and we hope the site is very helpful to you.